Hello and welcome to a special edition of the British Airways Fleet Update. We're looking at the planned Winter 26 schedule changes that take place at the end of October. There's an update on those. British Airways have moved some things about, but also some changes happening now in the summer, and a quick business update on Starlink Wi Fi. So, those are my headlines: the summer 26 plans, the Iran war, the impact on the Middle East, winter 26, some changes of a fairly substantial nature. We'll talk a little bit about the released 787 aircraft and how they're going to be used. And also, I should mention here that there'll be an update in the future on the return to Melbourne, Australia, but also the Caribbean, US, Florida developments we talk about here. So let's have a look at the Iran war response. British Airways already has suspended flights to a number of locations in the Middle East, but they're making plans to try and resume operations now. So currently they're saying Doha will resume on the 1st of July. That's the first available flight for reservations, 1st of July this year. One daily 777-200 instead of two daily flights. Dubai currently suspended, BA taking reservations from the 1st of July, but there'll only be one flight a day. It's a 787-9 instead of three flights. And of course, Foreign Commonwealth Office advice is still not to travel to those destinations. So I imagine demand will be relatively limited, probably mainly people who live out there, people who've got work commitments, government, etc. Jeddah, British Airways are cancelling all Jeddah flights. Not entirely clear why that is, actually, because Saudi is some way from the sort of heat of the campaign. But anyway, from the end of April, the 5 weekly 787 flights are cancelled, and they've actually cancelled all Jeddah flights through the whole of this year in 2026 and into next year in 2027. British Airways were suspending the operation of one of their flights to Mumbai, the 199, the 198, but they've brought forward the resumption of that to the 14th of May instead of the 29th of May. That will be a 777-200. And the Riyadh flight in Saudi Arabia restarting hopefully 20th of May, 4 weekly flights. That's 4 flights a week, 777 instead of 2 flights a day. And some additional flights that BA has filed with the aircraft released. Bangalore moves to 2 flights a day. I think that is good news, 2 flights a day from June. And Delhi, BA have had a long-standing aspiration, to get to 3 flights a day for Delhi, and they'll be upgrading one of those flights to an A350-1000. Quite a lot of extra capacity. 3 flights a day to Delhi, and you'll have 2 777s and 1 Dreamliner 787-8. And Africa, Nairobi in Kenya, that gets an upgrade from 7 to 14 flights a week, 1st of June through to the end of October. A mix of Airbus A350s and 777s serving Nairobi, so there's a good increase in capability. So let's have a look at the long-haul schedule changes that are in the system now for the winter timetable. And quite a lot of change at Gatwick. Some flights moving out of Gatwick to Heathrow. We'll talk about that in a moment. But it releases an aircraft to do a daily flight from Gatwick to Bridgetown in Barbados, and then that's going to become the base for BA to serve destinations in the southern Caribbean that have the one-stop service. So Georgetown, Grenada, Tobago will be the 3 destinations that are served after the Bridgetown Barbados stop. So from a crew perspective, the crew fly out to Barbados. They have a night in the hotel. They spend a day doing Georgetown, Grenada or Tobago. They fly back. They have a night in the hotel, and then the next night they return to London. New Colombo Sri Lankan service from Gatwick with three flights a week. And then British Airways also increasing for the winter the frequency to Kingston, Jamaica, to Porto Cano as well. And St. Lucia gets a dedicated service with no need to share capacity with Georgetown, Grenada or Tobago. So that's pretty good news day. Well, Baltimore, Washington from London Heathrow goes from 6 to 7 flights a week. Cape Town gets an additional service, moves to 21 flights a week from December. Houston, Texas, 12 flights a week from 11. Kuala Lumpur, those flights extend to Melbourne, but not until January 2027. Now, I mean, that's pretty good news, and it's great to see BA returning to Melbourne. But of course, the 7879 capacity is not particularly extensive. I guess my concern with that is that, bearing in mind the challenges of flying to Australia via the Middle East, which has been the go-to route for the Middle East for many people, BA flying to Melbourne will be very popular, but it does make me wonder whether you'll actually be able to get to Kuala Lumpur if everyone on those planes is seeking to get to Melbourne. It's also going to put the price up, I think, on Kuala Lumpur. New Orleans increases USA destination 3 to 4 flights a week. San Juan and Costa Rica, that moves from Gatwick to Heathrow and steps up, big increase in frequency, 3 flights to 5 flights. Tampa, 5 flights, also moving from Gatwick to Heathrow, so 2 routes there. And the gaps in the service to Tokyo Haneda are filled, so 2 Dreamliner flights a day, 14 flights a week. So there's clearly some implications there for Gatwick, Tampa, San Jose and Costa Rica moving to Heathrow. The Barbados flight complements the Heathrow flights. New Colombo route, other routes like Bangkok remain. The work I've done, which I'll talk about in a moment, suggests 11 out of 12 aircraft working through the winter. That's a pretty high ratio. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 777-200 3-class aircraft seconded across for the winter from London Heathrow. Just a quick update on the JFK operation. We've done this before. They go from 9 flights to 8 over the winter. Mostly 777-200s, but 2 flights currently shown as 777-300s. Some changes to the departure times to spread those out. A380s, a little bit odd actually. There will only be at the moment 6 aircraft diagrammed for service. I suspect that might change, but it does look like they're releasing aircraft to get on with the interior refit. A380s, of course, been a little bit problematic of late. So I've done what I did last time because I know many of you found it useful. I've been through the BA schedules. I've chosen a date and I've chosen Tuesday, the 3rd of November. No particular reason for that, apart from last time I chose a Monday. Some of these flights don't operate every day, so I just wanted to inject a bit of variety. But just beware, there's no Gatwick, Bangkok on a Tuesday. There's no St. Louis, Tampa or Nashville flights out of Heathrow, because last time I did this analysis, I got people going, oh, you've not covered this flight, you've not covered that flight. And when you actually look in the detail, what you find is those flights don't operate every day. But nonetheless, I may have missed something, I may have made some mistakes, but I've ascertained the aircraft type. currently allocated through looking at the schedule. I've made some assumptions about which aircraft have the time and the capability to work 2 long-haul flights a day. Not many do. When I say 2 a day, I mean 2 in and out of Heathrow. Now, British Airways are continually messing about with their timetable. Even as this video has been concluded, they've made changes. But what you'll see is they've allocated the work disproportionately to the 777s and the Dreamliner -8s, the 787-8s, and they've under allocated work to A350s, A380s, and 787-9s. Now, the extent of over allocation on certainly the 777-200s is such that there's more work than aircraft, let alone any allowance for maintenance, repairs, checks, and so on. So BA will not be able to operate the flights that it's allocated those aircraft. So the reason it does this is because the 777-200 is a lower level of capacity than many of the other aircraft types, and BA wants the flexibility further down the line to move aircraft about, and it's a lot easier if you haven't already sold a load of the seats, and BA will be looking at seat sales and deciding where the bigger aircraft should go based on how that goes. So let's get into it then. The Airbus A350 fleet with British Airways, 18 of those aircraft. I'd expect to see 16 in use. There's only 13 aircraft currently scheduled in the system. They're flying to some of the places that you would expect to see A350s, you know, places like Austin, Las Vegas, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Dallas, Hong Kong, Nairobi, so Bombay, or Mumbai as I should call it, but space to allocate another 3. Airbus A380s, I've already told you, only 6 aircraft currently allocated, and one of those is on Dubai flight. I'm not sure that Dubai is going to need an A380 this winter. I'm not sure people are going to be rushing back to enjoy Dubai, so they may well move that somewhere else as well. But there's a few aircraft there to be used. 777-200s at Gatwick. There's 12 of those aircraft. 11 aircraft required to operate the winter's timetable. That's pretty tight. It gives them 1 aircraft to do maintenance, repairs, and there may well be a need to augment that fleet with a Heathrow specimen. Here's the extreme example of overbooking. There you go, look, 21 aircraft allocated for 18 aircraft, and probably only 16 aircraft really capable of receiving allocated work. A lot of JFK rotations there, a couple of trips out to Africa, to Doha, Baltimore. So something's going to have to change there. So beware if you're booked on a 4-class 777-200 Heathrow. But similar problem, slightly smaller scale, on the 3-class 777-200s. There's 13 of those. You'd expect to see 11 allocated. There's actually 14 aircraft currently shown in the system, all over the place, Africa and North America, India as well. 777-300's pretty much spot on, although there's normally a 777-300 spare at Heathrow, but 16 aircraft, 14 of those have allocated work, so that looks about right, including Singapore and Australia as well in the winter, of course, Cape Town and the Maldives, couple of JFK. So on to the Dreamliners, 787-8s. Of course, Dreamliners have struggled through the last couple of years, have really not been available in the quantity they ought to be. This set of timetable allocations is going to require BA to get all its Dreamliners back in traffic. Don't know if that will happen on the 787-8s, but anyway, 10 out of 12 is the normal allocation. They're currently timetabling 11. On the 787-9s, we know some of these aircraft are going to be out of traffic for Club Suites fitment and the New World Traveller Plus, but this is a very light workload for this fleet. 8 aircraft required out of 18, so no way is that going to be the position. And of course there's the opportunity to move some aircraft around, although if the Dreamliner does pick up the 777-200 work, there will be less seats, so BA is going to have to be careful how they allocate that. 710s, this is a fleet, of course, that's going to get bigger. Currently there is 9 aircrafts worth of work. There's 12 in the fleet and there's more due to arrive, but I'd expect the 787-10 to mop up some of that 777 increase in capability. So you can see as we've gone through, there's adequate capacity, I think, in the fleet to absorb that over allocation amongst 777s and 787-8s, but we'll have to see how that pans out. So before we close the video, I want to just say a little bit about Starlink Wi Fi. That rollout has commenced on the 787-8 Dreamliner fleet, because that was the fleet that had no Wi-Fi at all. The first aircraft is Juliet Bravo Juliet Juliet. There's now 3 of those aircraft fitted. That was fitted in March. The maiden flight was the BA 197 to Houston on the 19th of March. BA committed to fitting all the aircraft over 2 years. All customers have access to free Wi-Fi in all the cabins. It's powered by more than 10,000 satellites in a low Earth orbit. It is, of course, the fastest Wi-Fi in the sky, with download speeds of in excess of 500 megabytes per second. So let's just take a look, a couple of videos from BA. They're not very long. The fitment of the fleet and then the launch on that Houston flight.
Fast, free, reliable Wi-Fi. Today is a real milestone for British Airways engineering. We're starting installation of Starlink on our first aircraft. It's a major engineering modification involving structural work, wiring, software, and extensive testing.
We're delighted to let you know that the Wi-Fi on today's flight is powered by Starlink.
My name's John Fisher, I'm captain on the BA 197 to Houston, Texas.
Go on Ben, you're waiting for it.
Well, I hope you found that a useful video, a useful update on the timetable, some of their fleet plans and the Starlink Wi-Fi. I'll catch you here again on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams for another video very soon.